you hadn't heard? Bunch of Pokemon gone. Still over 400 though, don't worry.
Are my Eevees okay?
Of course. Too popular to touch.
Wait, do we get a new one?
Nah.
Oh. Wait. So why are there less Pokemon suddenly? We're on the Switch. We're the biggest we've ever been.
Way too much work, man. They're remaking every model from the ground up.
No, they ain't.
Yeah, no, they're not. They'll lie though when they're caught in the act and then deny it the entire time.
Neat. So the netcode's better.
Worse than ours, actually.
Story?
Above average, but with awful padding at the end.
But how's gone?
Got this new guy for you. Name's Hop. You're gonna want his babies.
God, are Z-moves gone at least?
Yeah, now you can have your Pokemon fight in kaiju battles.
See, that's awesome. I bet you the gym fights are really
Easy as hell. 4 Pokemon each, don't worry.
Wow.
Get up to 5 for the finals.
Whatever, at least we only got $40.
90. Well, technically 60, but there's 2 little areas and some Pokemon coming back. Even though they swore they wouldn't do that, but don't worry, you don't really need those, and that's only 30, because you can get Pokemon
What the? Well, here we are. I said after Let's Go Eevee that we'd be here for Sword and Shield. I know it's been out a while. I took a while to play it. Not because I was engaged and playing it actively, but because I'm just tired. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. There's Eevee stuff all over this room. I play Nuzlocke for fun. I'm getting back into the card game, but I'm tired. I'm tired of Game Freak's laziness, of their arrogance, and their attitude of just assuming that we're all going to mindlessly buy the game, and yet we are. Dexit was supposed to be a huge deal, and Pokemon Sword and Shield still sold 5th best combined of every game on the Switch at over 16 million copies. And if they were honest, and they said, look guys, we're half-assing this because most of our guys are over working on Town right now. Because we need some other project, because we're worried about how badly Niantic kicked our asses with their half-assed efforts. So we're not sure what kind of future we have with the Pokemon Company. We're trying to hedge our bets, and you know, we saw Niantic, we really want to get in on that sweet recurrent revenue train and charge you to put the Pokemon back in. If they said all of that, I'd still be mad, but I'd respect them a little more, somehow. A little more than I do right now. Look, you want a solid opinion? Pokemon Sword's good. It's nothing great, it's nothing special. It's padded to all hell. It's generic, bland, but it's good. It's what you'd expect. In fact, honestly, it's probably slightly above average for a Pokemon game. Gameplay's kind of weak overall, and everything in the story up until the last battle against the champion puts up as much of a fight as a limp, lukewarm noodle, and the amount of absolutely obvious padding on display to try and drag any amount of length out of the story is teeth-grindingly ridiculous. It felt like they had 4 hours of gameplay that they tried to force into something bigger. There's always the little nitpicks that get worse and worse every game, too. Why are you forcing me to watch a man's mouth flap in a quality I would expect out of an early DS game as he pretends to sing, but all I hear is basic background music that was playing anyway? Why are you going to force me to sit through unskippable dialogue with the same dead fish style of mouth flapping in the cutscenes, while you're clearly trying to pretend someone is talking while complete dead air plays? Either add voice acting, or stop this. It's awkward, and not a third as endearing as you seem to think it is. This game in particular loves having you battle tons of trainers with 1 Pokemon each. How about, instead of battling 6 to 8 to 12 trainers who each have 1 Pokemon that I can knock out in 1 hit, you at least make it 2 to 4 trainers with multiple Pokemon. At least then, even if I knock them out in 1 hit, I'm not spending more time watching the so-and-so wants to battle than them throwing out their ball, or Pokemon coming out making some small repeated move that they'll use for any actual attack, so that I can finally select 1 move, KO their Pokemon in a single hit, Watch them faint, a close-up reaction shot of them shocked how badly I kicked their ass, with some message from them. The message is cute, but it gets repetitive and you stop reading them. Then how much money I won, then finally back to the overworld so I can do this again with goon number 57. Sure, there's good things about the world. More than a lot of other Pokemon worlds, this felt like a real place. People interacted with Pokemon in visible ways. The Pokemon job system. You can get requests for different jobs that Pokemon can help with, and you send the guys you've stored in your bank out to jobs, and they get experience. It's such a little thing, but it feels so good. I'm doing something with the Pokemon in my computer, and it makes it feel like they're a part of this world. I know it's always been said that Pokemon do jobs, and sometimes you'll see one or two around the world doing jobs, but we've never gotten to see it before. As overpowered as Dynamaxing is, so that it turns the gym battles into even more of a joke, you can't help but smile as you throw that absolute unit of a ball into the air. One of your teammates towering over a cheering crowd as that hype gym battle music plays. And the gym leaders actually have unique and interesting personalities that come through in little emotive additions that they gave them. Some characters could, please, stop emoting quite so much, but for the most part, it's good. Your Team Rocket version is just a bunch of incompetent, heavy-set soccer hooligans who come from the slums and want to cheer on their Dark-type princess. You can't even be mad at them because when they get in their way, they're so misguidedly well-meaning and incompetent. If Game Freak hadn't done what they did at every turn, if they hadn't been caught lying about remaking every model from the ground up, if there was any kind of sign of real work above and beyond what we should be expecting baseline going into this game, if they hadn't padded it more than a white-walled room, then I'd probably be praising this game. But instead, it's more of the same. In some areas, it's better than usual. In many others, it's so much weaker. And to top it all off, the $60 price tag. It's apparently a AAA title, so we're going to charge the full $60 price tag because we know you idiots will pay for it. And now pay another $30 atop it, because you're a bunch of sheep and we know you'll do it. And apparently we will shill out this much money just because they say so. I wish this had gone about as well as it did for Fire Emblem Fates when they pulled this malarkey. Yeah, for those of you who've played 3 houses, imagine if you paid $40 for each of the houses you wanted to play, because that's what Fates was. All 3, because there was another 3rd storyline that was the real ending, and you had to pay for it again. But we're not here to complain about a years-old Fire Emblem grudge that I have. We're here to talk about Pokemon. People defend this price tag by saying, well, I got $60 worth of enjoyment out of it, so it's worth $60. That's not how this works. The game is quantifiably not worth even close to that. Let's just compare. Most players seem to get roughly 34 hours of playtime out of Sword and Shield on average according to How Long to Beat. We're going to give the game that full 34, because despite much of that being meaningless padding, we will allow for the weird freaks like our resident lag fairy who enjoy running in circles hatching eggs. Now, 34 hours for $60 might sound halfway decent. It's a bit under $2 an hour for entertainment. Let's go back to 3 houses. It costs the same, spans an average of 64 hours. The story is tighter, the characters are more relatable and deeper, there's no meaningless padding, and despite having the potential to be just as easy, it keeps its pace well and has an actual difficulty setting for if you want a challenge, without having to make up fun challenges on your own. Oh, and multiple save slots, something Pokemon still can't seem to fathom why anyone would want, and it looks damn good compared to Mr. Remastered models and lighting that frankly looks just as good as it did on the 3DS. All for less than $1 an hour. Okay. Fire Emblem isn't lots of Pokemon's fans type of thing. Mario Odyssey. 27 hours. Sure, 7 less hours than Pokemon, but there's some padding. But looks better mechanics, actual innovation, more engaging gameplay, and optional challenges if you want more of a challenge in the game. You want a full world to adventure in? Skyrim. Don't think I need to say any more than that. Breath of the Wild. Sure, I don't like it, but hey, I'm down on Pokemon Sword for some of the same reasons. My point is that all of these games right now are on sale at your local GameStop for $60. Are they all worth it? I could say sure as a Dragon's Taint Skyrim isn't, but let's not open that kettle full of earthworms. The point is that they're all equivalent. This is all without considering other smaller games, the secondhand market where prices are more reasonable, other consoles. But maybe you only like Pokemon. Pokemon is the only game for you. You know what else you could get for less money that's going to give you the exact same amount of enjoyment? Any other Pokemon game. Because there's nothing new here. There's nothing to see. The wild areas are just the entirety of Pokemon Let's Go with seemingly less design and thought put into them. Just make them bigger. Gigamax Evolution? It's Z moves. It's Mega Evolution, only more restricted. You'll get more originality and the same amount of enjoyment from free Pokemon games, like Uranium and Prism. You know, the ones made by fans with actual passion, new ideas and love, the ones Game Freak took down because they were popular for exactly that reason, and they can't have you remembering what that feels like. You might actually start to expect something. Have some respect for your money, people. And I say that as someone who plays the Pokemon card game and Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, while I'm on the thought, the concept behind copyright is that you can't extend into a market that should be available for the original. For instance, if I make a sculpture, you can't draw a picture of that sculpture, or vice versa, because that's my market. And that's essentially what you're relying on, is the concept that these games, Uranium and Prism, are usurping on your potential market. Except that they innovated. They did something. That's why they were popular. You sit over there actively laughing at people and bragging about laughing at people because we, the fans, don't know what should be in a Pokemon game. Fine. Then you don't legally get to copyright them. You don't get to strike their stuff down because you've stated that that's not an area you're interested in going into. That's not a potential market to you. Just something to consider. In the end, I could sit here and break down every issue with Pokemon Sword. I could go over its history before development and everything that it did. I could go through each part of the story and compare and contrast what worked and what didn't. What was the same as usual? What was at least good enough? What wasn't? In the end, none of it matters. Because Game Freak's actions and decisions have made none of it matter. Is the game competent? Yes. Is it good? Yes. Is it great? Not on your life. Am I going to get the DLC? No. Am I going to get whatever Game Freak decides to grace us with next? Honestly, I'm not sure. After playing Sword, I feel like I could have skipped it and not missed a single thing. Same as I did with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And they may think they're hot shit now because they sold all of this. But ill will does carry. People bought Pokemon despite all the issues because fear of missing out, FOMO. Pokemon has turned into a social event that you can't miss. Pokemon is still special because of the culture around it, but not for much longer at this rate. Not when there's talented fans out there actually innovating, making far better work in every possible area while Game Freak sits back, openly laughing at us and telling us they know better. So with all that said, my final judgment is this. Game Freak and their inaction, lethargy, lies, and half-truths have made the way the game has to be looked at not about what the game is, but what it isn't. Our responses to Aliens, Colonial Marines, and No Man's Sky couldn't be about what the games were, but what they weren't. One of those two examples saved itself through hard work, dedication, and care, and is now considered to be a great game. When's the last time we saw Game Freak show any of that?